Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Let's jump right in, because today we are focusing on something absolutely essential for your day-to-day workout in the field. We're talking about firewall fundamentals. Now, as field technicians, you guys are the true first responders when a customer's network goes down. You're out there dealing with cables, routers, and connectivity issues every single day. But you know as well as I do, sometimes the problem isn't physical at all. Building a really strong, practical security awareness toolkit is going to save you hours of headaches, prevent those unnecessary hardware swaps, and just make you an incredibly efficient problem solver. So let's get you properly equipped.
Okay, let's dive into this. We've got a clear, four-step roadmap today to master these fundamentals. Section 1, what is a firewall? Section 2, the security boundary. Section 3, practical field troubleshooting. And finally, Section 4, a critical security warning.
So, starting us off with Section 1, what is a firewall? This is the absolute fundamental concept every technician needs to grasp before you even think about touching a cable.
Simply put, a firewall is the primary security system that monitors and controls all incoming and outgoing network traffic based on a set of predetermined rules. Now look, as a field tech, you weren't expected to sit at a terminal and code these complex security rules. That's the network security engineer's job. But you absolutely must be aware of the immense power this system wields. It operates silently in the background, and it has the ultimate authority to actively block data from flowing across the exact physical lines you're trying so hard to fix.
And this brilliantly illustrates the easiest way to think about it. Imagine a security guard standing at the main gate of a gated community. That guard's entire job is to stand there and watch who's trying to get in and who's trying to get out. Authorized cars with the right credentials? Yeah, they get to pass right through, no problem. But any suspicious vehicles or traffic that doesn't meet the strict rules of the community, the guard stops them dead in their tracks. Well, your firewall is doing the exact same thing, just with digital packets of data instead of cars.
So what does this actually mean for you out in the field? Well, first off, take a deep breath. There's no complex coding required from you here. You just need to deeply respect its authority to block data. I mean, every experienced tech watching this has felt this exact frustration, right? You've tested the physical line, the copper or fiber is spot on, the modem lights are solid green, your IP addresses are absolutely perfect, and yet the customer is hovering over your shoulder complaining that the internet is completely down. When the physical layer is flawless, but the service just isn't working, the firewall is almost always your prime suspect holding up that traffic.
Moving on to Section 2, the security boundary. Let's talk about the invisible wall this digital security guard actually protects.
A firewall essentially creates what we call a security boundary. Think of it as a glowing, invisible line separating two totally different worlds. On one side, you've got the trusted network. This is the internal company office. It's a safe, highly controlled, and heavily monitored environment where sensitive business happens. On the other side, you've got the untrusted network. That is the wild public internet. It's unpredictable, it's chaotic, and frankly, it is full of malicious actors and threats. The firewall sits directly on that boundary line, acting as the ultimate gatekeeper between those two worlds.
And you know, that boundary works in two distinct but equally important directions. First, you have inbound traffic. The firewall heavily scrutinizes every single request coming in from that untrusted public internet. If a hacker tries to penetrate the company's internal server, the firewall spots the threat pattern and immediately blocks it from entering. But it also monitors outbound traffic. It can restrict employees from hitting unauthorized sites, social media, peer-to-peer sharing, or games. It does this to make sure the company's bandwidth isn't choked up and that internal security isn't compromised just because an employee clicked a bad link.
All right, Section 3, practical field troubleshooting. It's time to move from theory to practice and add some actionable steps right into your toolkit.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we map these high-level concepts straight to a practical field action. Rule number 1, don't blame the communications line. If you're on site and the customer swears the internet is broken, but you notice they can successfully refresh their email inbox while just failing to load a specific web page, the issue is almost certainly a firewall policy blocking that specific outbound web traffic. It is absolutely not an issue with your physical internet line. Next up, where actually is the security guard hiding in the telecom closet? Well, for the physical location in small offices, the firewall is typically just built directly into the router, but in large enterprise companies, it's usually a massive, standalone piece of hardware sitting squarely between the main router and the company's internal switch. Knowing exactly where to physically look totally shapes your whole troubleshooting approach.
Okay, I want you to memorize this next question. Seriously, print it on the inside of your eyelids. Did you make any recent modifications to your firewall or security settings? This right here is your golden question. If you arrive at an office and the internet mysteriously dropped right after the client's IT guy made some internal network upgrades, you must ask them this exact question. So often, internal IT accidentally configures a rule that completely blocks their own outbound access. Asking this directly and professionally, that can solve a complicated service ticket in 5 minutes instead of 5 agonizing hours.
Which brings us to Section 4, a critical security warning. I need to shift into a more serious tone here for a second because this is absolutely vital.
Never bypass or disable a firewall to test a connection. Look, I completely understand the immense pressure you face in the field. When a customer is upset and you're frustrated trying to isolate a tricky routing issue, it can be incredibly tempting to just log in and turn that digital security guard off for a quick minute just to see if the traffic finally flows. Hear me now, you must never, ever use this as a troubleshooting shortcut.
So the crucial point is this. Disabling the firewall leaves the entire company network exposed to digital attacks. Always consult your supervisor. Remember that glowing boundary we talked about? Firewalls are designed to be strict and restrictive for a very good reason. If you take down that invisible wall, even for a few brief moments of testing, you are literally throwing open the front door of that trusted network to the wild, untrusted public internet. It exposes the entire business to automated bots, malware, and active hackers. If a customer ever demands that you disable it to force a connection, or if you feel you've exhausted every single diagnostic option, a supervisor consultation is absolutely mandatory. Don't ever carry that massive liability on your own shoulders.
And with that vital warning, we've officially reached the end of the Network Devices module. I want to genuinely congratulate you on completing this portion of your foundational training. By understanding the true role of the firewall, you haven't just learned about some blinking box in a server room. You've added a massive layer of efficiency to your field troubleshooting skills. You know how to spot the invisible wall, you know the golden question to ask your clients, and most importantly, you know exactly how to maintain the strict integrity of that security boundary. But as we all know, in the world of networking, the learning never really stops. So, are you ready to move on to IP addressing basics? Because now that you thoroughly understand how our security guard monitors and controls the flow of traffic, it's time to learn exactly how that traffic gets its precise destination addresses in the first place. I want you to keep this incredible momentum going, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next module to tackle IP addressing.